Good morning, Chair Holvey and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Pam Marsh. I'm the state representative from District 5, which is southern Jackson County. In the wake of the September 2020 wildfires that destroyed over 2,500 homes in my district and a total of 4,000 statewide, it became clear that there were significant gaps in some insurance policies that left policyholders struggling at the very moment when they needed help. To be sure, many insurers stepped up quickly after the fires to help families who lost everything. But that made the practices of other insurers stand out even more starkly. In response, in 2021, this body passed House Bill 3272, which addressed a number of problems that had emerged, including the time allowed to rebuild after a disaster. Today's bill, House Bill 2982, targets one final piece of needed reform. This one focused on the payment of personal property claims. As you will remember, the ferocity of the fires meant that structures and content were obliterated. Residents had to pursue insurance claims on the loss of both dwelling and possessions, or in insurance lingo, known as personal property. Some insurance companies acted quickly to write checks and pay residents a % of their total personal property coverage. But other companies required wildfire survivors to fill out onerous inventory forms listing every item in the home. Items on the inventory were then depreciated by the insurance companies with reimbursement based on current value. Your couch might have cost you $1,500, but depreciated value meant you were reimbursed for what you could sell it for today, typically much less than the purchase price. Survivors were only able to capture full replacement value if indeed they were lucky enough to have that coverage when or if they purchased the brand new replacement item. In the months following the fire, I heard from many residents who told me how difficult and re-traumatizing this process was for them. Colleagues, as you sit here, mentally review your own kitchen, your office, or your living room. Now, try to remember what's behind those cabinets or in those desk drawers or hanging on your walls. Every survivor who went through this process had to try to see in their mind's eye everything they had owned. Some items, like couches or bedding or kitchen appliances, could be replaced. But others, including childhood mementos or family heirlooms, think about your kid's ceramic handprint, your granddad's key holder, your mother's dessert plates, or the photo albums that recounted birthday partings or weddings or births. Those were gone forever. Every item recollected and then listed on an official form brought home the excruciating nature of this loss. Colleagues, if you pay for coverage, you should have a fair chance of recovering your loss without enduring excessive insurance requirements. Accordingly, House Bill 2982 will allow consumers to settle for 70% of their personal property coverage without laboring over inventory forms and trying to remember and then repurchase every possession. Consumers who wish may still pursue the inventory approach to receive maximum coverage, and I expect that most will do that. We have targeted the 70% reimbursement level because we believe it is a fair compromise for both consumers and companies. In both Oregon and California fires, some insurance companies have voluntarily offered consumers 75% or even more of their coverage. Colorado recently passed legislation requiring 65% of coverage without an inventory. And remember, this is 70% of the total coverage that consumers have been paying for. House Bill 2982 also requires insurance companies to provide consumers with an understanding of the depreciation process used to value items. When reimbursement for the loss of your couch is dependent on a company's evaluation of its current value, consumers deserve to understand that formula. September 2020 was a terrible month for thousands of families across this state. Many of my own neighbors are still sleeping on couches or staying in hotels and wondering, frankly, if they will ever have a stable place to call home. This is not the last wildfire or other catastrophic event that we are going to experience in this state. We need to learn the lessons from 2020 and ensure that Oregonians who are facing one of the worst experiences of their lives have the protection they need to recover after a disaster. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration of this legislation. I hope you will consider an aye vote on House Bill 2982. I'm happy to answer questions. We also have representatives from DCBS here if you have questions for them.